Hello, how are we? Welcome back to my channel. It's Anna. So I wanted to just kind of hang out and like chat today. I've been personally working through the stigma around productivity in my kind of fiber arts sphere for a little bit now. So I thought it would be nice to sit down with you guys. We could just kind of talk about it. I'm hoping that if anyone else feels this way, that this will help. It's definitely something that I'm still working through. I deal with these feelings of like being productive and thinking I need to be more productive and expecting myself to be able to do a lot of the time. But obviously that's like not the case. And so I want to talk about it, and I want to share some of the tips that I have found that work for me. It's definitely something I'm still working through. So not perfect by any means. Don't know, how much these tips will help. But I figured if I could help at least one person, I would love to, because feeling kind of paralyzed by the expectation to do a lot really makes it hard for me to be creative. So if you're anything like me, maybe you have some of these similar feelings, and if you don't, you just hang out and work with us. That's totally fine. I don't know, take these tips into something else in your life. I'm not one to judge, but yeah, I just figured we would quickly talk about that and hang out and vibe together. I don't know. Feel free to grab your project, grab a snack, a stuffed animal friend, hang out with me. And we're just gonna go through some of the things I have written down about productivity in the fiber arts world. Real quick before we jump into today's video, I just want to thank the sponsor, Atlas Coffee Club. I love Atlas, but if you aren't familiar, let me tell you more. They are a coffee-based subscription company that curates the world's best coffee and delivers it straight to your door. I'm a college student, as I think a lot of you guys know, so getting something to my door every month is so convenient, especially when it's good and reliable coffee, because I don't mess around with my coffee. I always need a cup in the morning, at least one, if not more, throughout the day. So being able to get good coffee straight to my door is literally unbeatable. They curate coffee from 50+ countries around the world, which means every single month you can try a new bag from a new place. So if you are a coffee lover like me, you can try something new every month. It is so fun, and it's a great way to explore coffees that you can't really get anywhere else. The coffee is always fresh roasted, and you can get it ground to your preference, meaning I have a Keurig in my dorm because that's the easiest way for me to make coffee. So I get it ground for that in my reusable K-Cup. But if you have an espresso machine or a pour over, you can get it ground however you need it. It's very customizable to your preferences. This is my favorite bag currently. It's from Honduras. It's a dark roast. It is always good. It creates a great cup of coffee, and I just really love the flavor and the notes in it. And it's fun because you can learn more about the coffee that you're drinking with the cards in your box. So first you get this postcard that has information about the place that you got the coffee from, where the origins of the beans are, and then this card tells you about the tasting notes as well as some history and the origins on the beans themselves. I just think it's a really cool touch. You can learn a little bit more about the coffee that you're drinking as you're drinking it. I don't know, maybe I'm a nerd and I just like to learn things, but I think that's really cool. So if this sounds like something you guys want to try out, I do have a code for you. Feel free to use my link down below to get 50% off on your first order from Atlas. Once again, if you want 50% off on your first order from Atlas Coffee Club, feel free to use my link down in my description box below. Thank you again to Atlas for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back into it. Okay, so I feel like productivity culture is very customizable to each person and the expectations that they feel on them and how it just like affects their work habits. But for me, I find that if I see a lot of people on social media specifically getting high view counts or posting a lot of videos, finishing a lot of projects, just being active, I feel the need to be more productive, to be putting out more content, to be creating more, even if I simply don't have the time, which is really one of my biggest struggles, being that I'm a college student. I might want to craft a lot more than I do, but I just don't really have the time. And it makes it hard when I see a bunch of people that I follow, people that I'm mutuals with, posting, because even if they post once a day, if the 15 people, 20, 30 people that I interact with all the time I'll post one time a day, it looks like everyone is always productive. Even if that is like fully not the case, the way I consume makes me feel like it is. And that can make it very hard. Like I said before, it feels very paralyzing to me, almost like I have to be more productive right now in this moment. Even if I don't have any time in the day, I'm like, I need to carve out more time to be doing this so I can do more, so I can, and it like snowballs. And it's just like, it's unfair to put those expectations on myself because I am a busy person. I don't have time right now to craft full time, and maybe the people that I'm looking at have more time than me. Or like I said, they posted once a day, so they had 5 minutes to pick up their knitting and they posted about it, you know? You see this much out of someone's day and expect that this much is the whole thing, and that's just not fair to that person or yourself. And it makes it tough. I think one thing for me that makes it really, really hard, and I enjoy this content, I've made this content, and I probably will continue to make this content, are the TikToks and the Instagram posts and the YouTube videos talking about how much someone made in a month or how much someone made in a week. And I think that content is really fun. I most times can look at people and be like, you killed it, what a productive month, like that is so cool. But it's not always like that. Sometimes I look at it and I'm like, okay, so they finished 5 things and I got 3 rows done on like a project all month long. Like I didn't finish anything and I feel like I haven't done enough. It's tough because once again, I don't know the life that they're living compared to the life I'm living, and it's not fair to put these same expectations on myself when maybe they do this as a full-time job. Maybe they are pattern designers, or they sell their garments or their product as their job, and I am a full-time student doing crafting more right now as a part-time job or a hobby. So it's just unfair to put that expectation on myself when I have really no reason to. You know, it's like, it is supposed to be fun at the end of the day, and if, you know, if you're making yourself feel like you're forcing yourself to work because you need to make more things, it gets to a point where it could be super not fun. It's not enjoyable and you don't want to do it. You're not creating because you are compelled to, you are creating because you feel like you have to. And I think that's one of the most important things that I have kind of learned as I've worked through this in myself, is that each of us are very different. Like I said, I am a full-time student. I try to do this as a part-time job, but most times I don't have enough time in the day to do that. I do a lot of other things. I have class. I just don't have time to devote to YouTube or crafting in the way that maybe I want to. But it's unfair for me, a full-time student, to compare myself to maybe one of my mutuals who does this as a job. Or maybe they are also a student, but they're a part-time student, or they are involved in other extracurriculars or whatever. Maybe they have more time in their day to craft than I do. And I think the same goes for people who maybe see me post and they just do it as a hobby and I do it as a part-time job. They could feel the same way. And I think it's just important to remember that each person is different. Each person's craft is defined to them in a different way. For some people it's a job, and for some people it's a hobby, and it's unfair to compare apples to oranges because it's just gonna make you feel bad no matter what. And that's not fair. It's like I said, it's supposed to be fun, and if it's not feeling fun, if you're feeling like there's some sort of obligation, maybe you need to take a step back and think, why am I feeling this way? For me, trying to change that mindset is the most important thing, because I really enjoy consuming fiber arts and craft content on the internet and using social media as a way to connect with people in the community, because I don't have a lot of people around me who craft and are a part of the fiber arts community like in real life. I find that working to change my mindset is the most important or the most valuable thing for me, because it may not make me feel entirely better, but I know that changing my mindset in the long run is going to be more beneficial for me and the way I work. I think it's also important to remember that each person just works differently. Even if I had 5 hours a day to work and I sat next to someone who also worked that same 5 hours, we are going to get a different amount done because we just work in different ways. We work different speeds and we just do things differently. Each artist is different, each crafter is different, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. I know there's the appeal of being able to go faster. I would be like a big fat liar if I said I haven't like tried to like practice and get better at moving my hands faster to do the stitches quicker or get through rows faster. But you shouldn't have to force yourself to work faster if you don't enjoy working like that. For me, I sometimes just want to speed through it. I want something to be done, and I can work kind of mindlessly fast, but if you like to go slow and enjoy the process slowly, you can. It may mean that you're finishing things slower than other people, but you know, maybe that's not such a bad thing because it's not the way you would want to craft. Working fast is not the way you would want to craft. All of this is to say that your productivity and the amount that you make at the end of each week or each month or each year, or even at the end of the day, how much you make is not an indication of your worth as an artist. Someone who is more productive than you isn't a better artist than you just because they're more productive, because that is in and of itself subjective. They may appear to be more productive, but maybe you're working on a very hard sweater and you got through half of it in a month and they finished 2 things. Yeah, they finished 2 things, but you also got a lot done. Maybe you had more time to craft than they did. So with all that being said, I want to wrap it up with some of the things that have helped me the most. Like I said, it is still something I work through a lot. And I think this video will serve as a good reminder to myself and hopefully to others that, you know, how much you get done is not an indication of you and your worth. There are things you could do that will make it easier for yourself to, I don't know, get through these feelings, to change your mindset, and hopefully make it less frustrating to do something like go on social media if you are like me, and it can be hard sometimes. The first tip is to be intentional with who you follow on social media. I tend to follow people that I really enjoy their work, and I am really inspired by them. This way I'm not following every single person I come across that has a Fab Arts related account. And I do this because if I'm going to be consuming this content, I already know I'm going to feel as if everyone is being more productive than me, even if that's not the case, and it half the time probably isn't. But if I am intentional with who I follow, I will be simply consuming less, and it will hopefully not make me feel as bad. I think this kind of ties into my next point of being conscious of how much you interact with this stuff on social media. It is very fun to consume other people's art. I get so inspired by it. I love it. But in that admiration for them, I sometimes also feel jealousy because they have more time to work than I do. And that turns into feeling bad about myself because I'm expecting myself to be doing more and to be doing better and all of that. So just be conscious of the amount of time that you're spending consuming. First of all, if you're intentional with who you follow, that's going to help because you're not following everyone under the sun if that's not helping you. But then also just being conscious of like diversify your feed, have other things on there that will help you feel better and not feel so much pressure if that is something that you run into a lot, if that's an issue that you deal with a lot. Even if that means setting up some sort of restriction, like if you go on Pinterest a lot and all that you see is Fab Arts related content and you feel like overwhelmed, like you should be making more, or TikTok, or if you have an Instagram account, just set a restriction on it. Say I can only go on it at night. You can literally put restrictions on your apps if that makes you feel better. Just be conscious with how much that you're taking in, because if you take in tons and tons and tons, of course it's going to feel like everyone else around you is doing a lot more than you are. And then finally, I think this is the most important one, is make sure that you are making things that are making you happy. Like I said before, someone in 1 month can finish 2 or 3 things and you could get halfway through something. But that halfway through something is something that you're enjoying working on every single time. So make sure that you are making things that are going to make you happy in the long run. Don't make things for the sake of making them. Don't make things for the sake of, you know, finishing them faster, about having more things to post. Make things that make you happy, and I think you will feel so much better. It's very hard to change your mindset. It is very hard for me to do. I had all these things written down And it is still hard for me to pull it out and reference it for myself. But I'm hoping, like I said, as long as this helped at least one person feel a little bit less alone and a little bit less like, you know, there's so much pressure on them to perform well and post a lot and finish a lot of things in a month, then my job is done. All I really want to do is help you guys remember that you are not, your worth is not indicated by your productivity. It's just not. And it's very easy to feel like every single person is doing more than you, but that's, first of all, not the case, and second of all, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. You do what makes you happy. Make things that make you happy, whether it's practical or not, whatever. Do whatever you want. Make things that make you happy. This, at the end of the day, is supposed to be fun, and if it's not fun for you, maybe it's time to take a step back and realize why. So with all of that being said, that is all I have for this week's video. I hope what I just said made sense. I had it all written down in front of me, but I have no clue if what I just spoke connected at all. So I hope that it did. But I hope you enjoyed. Like I said about 7 times already, I hope this helped at least one of you. If you guys have any tips about beating productivity culture and, you know, reminding yourself that your worth as an artist is not indicated by how much you get done every month, if you have any tips for that, leave them down below. I'd like to start conversations with you in the comments. I think you guys all know that by now. It is one of my favorite things to do. If you guys liked today's video, if it helped out at all, feel free to like and subscribe. Hit that post notification bell if you want to know whenever I post. I am back at school. As I've mentioned, I am super duper busy, typical for me. So my posting gets kind of sporadic. So if you want to know when I post, hit the bell. It's so much easier. If you would like to follow me on social media because you think it would be fun, it is linked down below. My Instagram, my TikTok, I'm most active on there. And yeah, I think that is all I have for you guys today. Like I said, comment down below if you guys have anything you want to add. I hope this video was helpful in some way for some of you. And if you would like more videos like this, let me know. If you have any topics specifically that you want me to talk about, let me know. Yeah, that is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I love you all so very dearly, and I will see you next time with a brand new video. Bye, everybody.